Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Gillianberry and we have a beautiful, amazing guest today, 𝑼𝑺𝑬 𝑪𝑶𝑫𝑬. Hey Ava.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. And we're going to do a little impromptu video. We were just talking behind the scenes about our natural childbirth experience. So we both gave birth in the hospital to our first child. And then we both had an at-home experience for the second. So I thought this would be pretty cool to talk about our experiences. People ask me all the time to share my natural, no epidural, at-home experience and the difference between at home and the hospital. So Ava was just saying she did the same thing. So I thought this would be a great video. Let's get into it. How's it going?
Yay. Yes, I think it's amazing that we both have kind of like the same story, that the first baby was born at the hospital and the second one was at home.
Yeah.
So I want to know what your reason for that was.
Yeah. And I just want to preface it by saying I think everybody has to do what's right for them, whether that's at the hospital with a C-section or whether that's at home with the midwife, whatever. You have to like go see your doctor, do what's best for you. But okay, so for me, I had my first at the hospital in Mississauga in Canada. I'm from Canada. And it was not a good experience. Like it was the best day of my life having my baby.
Yeah.
That was amazing. But I told them I don't want to take the epidural. I'm just going to have a natural childbirth. And they came into the room like every 5 minutes, take the epidural, take the epidural.
Yeah.
And there's like all the bright lights. It was, for me, it was such an uncomfortable environment.
Yeah.
And they were really pushy for that. And then they reached a point where they said, you have to take the epidural or you're having a C-section. And I was like, I'm not having a C-section. I just went 12, 15 hours like in here.
Yeah.
And so I was pushing and pushing because it's almost like it felt at that hospital. I'm not saying it's like that everywhere. It felt like a transaction. They just want to get you in and out.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a business. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it came time and they were like, okay, you have one more chance to get her out. You have to like get her out right now or have a C-section. And they were like, I think they said that her heart rate was, I forget what it was doing.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh crap. I didn't want to have a C-section because I had read that it's better for the baby to get covered in like the microbiome or whatever when it's delivered that way. So that's what I personally wanted to do. And so they ended up taking her out with like the pliers or whatever. And I think, and she was very stressed.
Yeah.
She was born stressed. She cried for the first 3 days. And I think that's like traumatic, right? And the whole experience was completely different versus at home. So I'd love to let you talk a little bit and hear how it went for you at the hospital. And then we can get into the home natural birth.
Same story. I went to the hospital because I felt like it's my first baby. And what do I know? I need the professionals. Even though I thought I had a very cool doctor and I also had a doula, I was just bamboozled. Once I got there, they start rushing you. It's like they gotta get in, they gotta get out, and I was like, the lights, like I was trying to have a peaceful and quiet environment. They kept coming in, barging in, no respect, turning on the lights, and I have like candles and whatever. They were like, you can have any of this, and they just kept rushing me. And the same thing, they're like, well, you're not progressing fast enough, so we're gonna give you Pitocin. And I was like,
me too. I had that.
Oh my gosh. And then, so they gave me that stuff and that makes your, just contractions and everything happen really, really fast. And I could hardly stand it, but I did not want the epidural. It really freaked me out. So I held out and I didn't have the epidural, but it was just such an uncomfortable experience and painful and hurtful. I felt violated. I felt like none of my wishes were taken into account. And I just thought to myself, never again. I'm never doing this again. They're so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just because like they're just immune to it and they just like are numb to it. So you didn't take the epidural still?
No.
Good for you. I did because they were like, you have to take it, like blah, blah, blah. I think too, they said like something with her heart rate. So I was just like, okay. And then
they scare you with that. Because the monitors everywhere, beep, beep, beep. And you're like, okay, this is not a medical emergency. Why are they treating my birth like it's like an accident waiting to happen or an emergency waiting to happen?
And the position, like they have you laying down on the hospital. They like you to be like laying down.
Yeah.
It's so unnatural. When I had her at home, I was like squatting and that's what felt natural. So for me at the hospital, it felt like I was so out of tune with nature and my body. Yeah.
That's how I was too.
Right.
But I was lucky that I had a doula there with me advocating for me besides my husband.
Good.
And the doula said, I said to her, I need to get on my hands and knees. Imagine this at the hospital. And they're like, you can't do that. I was like, watch me, so I did give birth how I felt more comfortable doing.
Yeah.
And I did say no to the epidural. I could not take that.
Yeah.
I was so scared of the whole thing. But even with all of that, it was not a good experience. And I was thrilled to have my baby, but it was just like I felt robbed of my experience. I did not want that.
Me too. And I didn't expect that. I think I just like, you think, oh, the contractions are starting. Let's go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect it to be like boom, boom. And it was so different. But it's still, like you said, you have your baby. And that was like the best moment of my life. I didn't know I could love like that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. It was just like I would stare at her and be like, oh my God, like this is crazy. I love her so much. It's like the best experience ever.
Yeah.
Did you breastfeed right after? Like, okay, another thing too is I feel like they took her away for a bit too.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. That I didn't experience at home. Like it was upsetting me. Like I wanted to have her right away. Right.
Yeah. I had my doula there who told me the whole business of the whole thing. So she's like, make sure they don't take her away. So I was like, when they said, we're going to take her, I'm like, no, that's okay. Leave her here. And they're like, don't you want to rest? I'm like, no, I want my baby. And they said, well, you need to sleep. I'm like, no, I'm good. So I just like put her to my chest right away and started breastfeeding. And yeah, they were like very insistent. And I said, no shots, no nothing, no the vitamin K, none of that. And it was like a struggle every step of the way. I felt like, okay, whose decisions are they? You know, why am I not in charge here? So yeah, it was I felt very, the right word is violated. I just felt like they took advantage of my situation. I don't know. I just can't explain it. I just felt so awful.
So you guys pay, okay, in Canada, we don't pay for any of these appointments with midwives, doctors, birth, nothing. It's all just covered. And so that's different here, right? You pay.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, like if somebody is going to have a pregnancy and a birth, what does that cost look like in the States?
I had medical insurance, so my medical insurance covered everything, but I can't even imagine if you don't have medical insurance. It'd probably be, I don't know, thousands and thousands of dollars. And your medical insurance is tricky too, because sometimes they don't cover everything. If there's an incidental or something that they didn't foresee, they might say, well, that's not covered. So you have to be very careful. But I had my medical insurance cover everything.
And medical insurance is pretty expensive, right? I think my dad has it. He lives in Florida. I think it's like $1,200 a month, right?
Yeah, for a family. Yeah, it's
that's
expensive.
Some people's mortgage.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, you obviously need it in case like that. Okay, so then did that inspire you to have the next one at home? That was your motivation because of the bad experience in the hospital?
Yeah, definitely. And then at that point also was I got more educated about the whole thing. Like, what was I thinking? Why didn't I do my homework about this? So I watched a movie called The Business of Being Born, which I highly recommend. Was produced by Ricky Lake. And I watched this movie. I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Everything that they talk about in the movie happened to me like verbatim. Every single step they did to me, the Pitocin, the everything. And so I was like, okay, this makes so much sense. I'll never go to the hospital again to have a baby. And that's when I just found myself a doula again. Actually, the same lady. I found myself a midwife, and I went to all the prenatal with a midwife, and I decided to have my second baby at home.
And it was a lot more positive?
Like night and day. Like not even the same experience. It cannot be described.
Was it hard for you without the epidural on both pregnancies?
No.
No?
No, the first one, yes.
Oh
the first one, yeah. The first one was hard because of the Pitocin. But I took a thing called hypnobirthing.
I heard about this. I saw there's
really
that guy,
good.
that really successful guy that does that.
Yeah, I did the hypnobirthing. And it was like you go into self-hypnosis. I know it's going to sound really woo-woo, but that's what I did.
And it worked?
And it worked. Yeah, it
Whoa.
worked. Yeah. They teach you these breaths that you do, and you don't call them contractions. You call them surges and like the whole thing. And you like stay away from negative birth stories and please don't share that with me kind of thing. It's all about positive. It's all about letting your body do what it's designed to do.
Oh, that's good.
And it was a great course. And I did it for both pregnancies.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had your whole birth at home. You didn't have to go to the hospital for the at home. And it was great.
No.
It's nice being in your own home, right?
Oh, it was amazing because first of all, you go into labor and you don't go anywhere. So you stay there. And then I didn't think I was in labor. So my husband is like, why are you pacing? I'm like, I don't know. Why are you on your hands and knees? I'm like, I don't know. And so he's like, let me fill up the tub because we had a birthing tub. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm in labor, but yeah, just go ahead. And he was like 1 a.m. I went into labor at 11 and my baby was born at 1. It just all happened so quick.
I think mine was 17 or 18 hours. I forget the exact amount. The first one was even longer.
Really?
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was
mine
a 2
was
hour.
so painful. And you hear all these raw vegans and they're like, oh, the birth didn't even hurt. I was like so zenned out. This could not have been worse.
Really?
I was smashing the counter and just like like in the bathroom because I couldn't handle the pain. I had a hairbrush and I was just smashing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can this even be it was the worst pain I'd ever imagined.
Really?
Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to like put those, like, it was crazy, but it was so much more rewarding doing it natural without the epidural.
Yeah.
Because it was literally just like you went from like hell to like heaven. Then when she was born, it was just the best experience of my life. And I was so alert. Yeah. And she was so alert. And like you said, like you're at home. Yeah. It was amazing. They did try to get me to go to the hospital though with the midwife.
Really?
And you guys have to follow your midwife's advice. Do what's right for you.
Yeah.
Do what's right. Right. But I mean, in my case, I was just like, I can feel the baby's coming. I can feel with the contractions. Yeah. I know it's fine, but they were, if the baby hadn't come soon, I think we probably would have ended up going to the hospital. They thought I needed a C-section. Oh, wow. Even with the midwives. Yeah. But I was like, no, trust me, she's coming. I can feel it. And then I went into the bathroom, boom, in the squatting position, and she was there. And then it was so nice to be in my own bed, having her right away. Like, yeah. And just the environment, it was a night and day.
Peaceful. And I had all the lights off, and I remember opened the windows a little bit on the patio door, and I remember that it was a full moon, and it was just so magical.
Your daughter was born on a full moon?
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
My mom was born on a full moon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was the best. And then it was just my husband and I, and then at the last minute, because it happened so quickly, the midwife made it just in time to catch the baby. She was born in the water.
So the water worked for you? I didn't like being in the water. I thought that's how it would be, and I wasn't in the water.
It was good in the water, yeah.
I got out of the water. I was like, this is not working. It was getting worse in
funny.
there.
Everybody has their own thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you find this position and you're like, okay, this is good. And then a minute later you hate it. I don't know. It's a weird journey.
And for my journey, for me, like I just thought this is the most painful thing. Nothing could get worse. But then when it came time to like actually push her right out, it was like a ring of fire.
The ring of fire. I was gonna say that.
No, I'm not even kidding.
The ring of fire. Yeah, that is the ring of fire.
I remember thinking I would never do this again, no matter what.
Yeah,
but I would.
You always think that at the time. Yeah, you always think that, but then you have it again. You have another baby.
You kind of forget. You forget the way it felt.
Yeah, those drugs after like the natural drugs, the endorphins and all the chemicals that the feel-good chemicals kick in, and you forget everything.
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, if there's anything else you can think of that maybe we missed that we'd want to share on this topic, or you think we got it all?
I think it's important to say what you just said at the beginning. Like, do what you're, like we're not saying this is what everybody should do. This is what we did.
Yeah, this is our experience.
Yeah, this is our experience. It worked for us. But I also want to say to women, empower yourselves, educate yourselves. Watch that movie, The Business of Being Born, and, just trust in your body, trust in your womanly power and your intuition. Your body knows what to do. Yeah. Our bodies are designed for this. This is a natural process. And that's where I went wrong with my first pregnancy. I was kind of like thinking it's a medical thing. It's a medical emergency and I need help from the doctors. The doctors can't really do much unless there's a true emergency. And so, trust your intuition and your body and just let your body do what it's designed to do.
Yeah. And you weren't raw vegan in your pregnancies then, right? You were.
No, I was eating terrible, like McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
Bad.
Me
I had
too
cravings. I had cravings for filet of fish.
Yeah. Is that a McDonald's meal?
Sorry. Filet of fish is the fish sandwich at McDonald's.
I never understood how people could eat that. That's the one dish at McDonald's. I thought, how do people like that dish?
Me. That was me.
It's like a burger but with the fish.
Yeah. Horrible. I had this weird cravings. That's another thing. All of a sudden, I watch a commercial for like Red Lobster, which is the nastiest red. I don't mean to insult anyone if you like Red Lobster.
I used to go there too. I used to like the lobster with the butter.
Okay, so I watched a commercial for that. I'm like, I have to go to Red Lobster. I have to go right now to Red Lobster. My husband's like, what the hell? I'm like, you don't understand. I have to go. And I'd go and ordered all the food, and then I couldn't eat it. So it was just so weird with my pregnancy. It was really weird. But then with my second one, I got more educated and I was eating better because with my first, I couldn't eat. That's one good thing about my first pregnancy. I became a vegetarian then.
Wow.
Because it made me sick.
Really?
Watching raw chicken, I would gag. I would be like, well, I can't take it.
How do people eat raw meat? That's what I always wonder.
I don't know. I could not handle. So with my first, the gift of that was that I went vegetarian. But I ate fish. I was like a pescatarian. Yeah. And that's the filet of fish story thing. And then that was it. So that was good. Yeah.
Wow.
Follow your intuition, but don't go to McDonald's if you're pregnant.
Yeah, it's not the
Not
best
good.
place. I did too. My first
Yeah.
pregnancy was burgers, fries, no alcohol, obviously,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
a bunch of junk.
Yeah.
But my second, I was raw and I really wanted to have a baby because I was like, I'm so healthy. This has changed my life like nothing else. This will be the world's healthiest child.
Yeah.
This is the way. And I thought I knew everything back then. And I thought because it fixed everything and I wasn't supplementing that I didn't need supplements.
Yeah.
And then I had been like 2-3 years in, and I guess like, so I spent the pregnancy raw vegan.
Wow.
And
that's
she
great.
was born like the happiest baby ever. And they were like, oh, it's just the gas. No, she was freaking happy. She's
Yeah.
still the happiest person I've ever met.
That's the same with my second daughter.
No way.
She's got the personality exactly like that. She's so happy.
I love that.
They
I
used to
just-
say to me, why is she always smiling? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. She's always laughing and smiling.
I love it.
The second baby thing, maybe. I don't
But that
know.
was my mistake. I should have been, I didn't even check blood work. I took like
Yeah.
the natural thing to like the extreme level of like, I think was irresponsible and so stupid. So one of the biggest mistakes of my life,
Yeah.
like so dumb, really. I should have been checking blood work. I should have been staying on top of all the nutrients like the B12 and stuff because you have to be careful, right?
Yeah.
So I guess after like a year of breastfeeding her and the nutrients and then anyway, I just think like that's just my piece. If you're going to do raw vegan for a pregnancy, like really just stay on top of the blood work, make sure everything's
Yeah.
good. I think it's important. So
Live and learn. But
Yeah.
look, that now it's helping other people. Maybe
Yeah.
not make the same mistake.
and you do see some people that are like, they do it and you see a lot of people that it really works, but most of
Yeah.
them supplement like the B12, the D. You got to be
Honestly,
careful.
you got to be careful. We were talking about this before. I honestly think that it's a big mistake to think that the diet alone is going to be the sole provider of everything you need, because we don't live in a perfect world. If we did, like even 50 years ago, the food was so much more nutritious. The soil was so much richer. And maybe then, but now it's kind of like a little sketchy sometimes. The quality, I think, is a really good idea to supplement, or to at least be getting your blood work done, once a year, to just make sure that you're good and that you don't have deficiencies, because that's serious. A B12 deficiency, a vitamin D deficiency, a calcium deficiency. You could have, definitely.
I know. I remember Ann Osborne. I interviewed her, and she said one of her friends, I think it was a friend, they had the baby born, and there was like such a severe deficiency. But thank God they knew to like do the huge B12 injections right away, so the baby was fine.
Wow.
But you have to be careful. If you say you were you now having a baby, do you think you would do raw vegan or no? Or like,
I would, yeah, I would.
But with supplements and with
But
checking.
like a smart raw vegan, not the raw vegan that I was just so dogmatic that I thought, skipping through the meadows, drinking orange juice and whatever. No, like be serious about it. Have a plan. Make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need. Make sure you're getting plenty of protein, greens. Make sure that you're getting plenty of veggies too, the good
big
quality.
variety. Eat everything.
Variety, sprouts, everything. Don't just think that you can just eat a bunch of mangoes and be healthy, because I don't think, maybe that's the reality if you're young, but as you get older, your needs change. Especially I'm 52. I'm not about to, not take it seriously. I need to make sure that I'm getting everything I need. And vitamin D, that's so important. Like people don't realize that if your hair starts falling out, you get fatigue, you get a lot of issues from vitamin D deficiency too.
52, but you look 38.
Oh, thank you.
That's a fact.
Thank you.
Well, this has been wonderful. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed this topic, and thanks for coming on, sharing. Everybody go follow Ava. I'll link all her stuff below. She has a private group, an amazing channel, an amazing Instagram. And I just want to say too, like, don't listen to us, listen to yourself. This is only our story. We're sharing our journey. Go see your doctor. Do what is right for you, right for your body, right for your baby, and right for your family, even if that's complete opposite to what we've shared here. And yeah, I hope this added some value. If it did, give it a thumbs up right now and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.